Have you ever trusted the wrong person, only to discover a betrayal so deep it shook your beliefs? Imagine dedicating your life to avenging a family member, only to find out that the person who promised you justice was the one who destroyed your world. Anna is a woman driven by a thirst for vengeance, who learns that the line between ally and enemy is dangerously thin. But in her quest for revenge, she finds love in the most unexpected place. Stay with us as we unravel a tale of deceit, love, and justice that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Anna's life changed forever one fateful night. She was just a teenager, sitting in the living room with her father, a kind and honest man who had always been her rock. They were laughing at an old movie, enjoying a rare moment of peace, when the front door burst open. Before Anna could react, masked men stormed in. Her father jumped up, trying to protect her, but it all happened too fast. The gunshots rang out, shattering the calm. Anna screamed, frozen in terror, as her father fell to the floor, blood staining his shirt. The men fled, leaving chaos in their wake. Kneeling beside her father, Anna felt helpless. He whispered his last words, telling her to stay strong and find justice. His eyes closed, leaving Anna alone in a world that suddenly felt cold and hostile. From that moment, her heart was consumed by a burning need for vengeance. She vowed to find those responsible and make them pay, no matter the cost. The police investigation went nowhere, the case quickly going cold. Frustrated and grieving, Anna found herself drawn into the dark underworld her father had always warned her about. It was there she met Marco, a powerful crime boss who promised her the justice she craved. Marco saw the fire in her eyes and took her under his wing, training her, molding her into a weapon for his own use. Determined to avenge her father's death, Anna infiltrated the police force, becoming Marco's informant. Each day, she balanced on a knife's edge, hiding her true allegiance while gathering information for Marco. Her dual life was dangerous, but the thought of her father's killers drove her forward. Anna's nights were haunted by memories of that fateful evening, but she pushed through the pain, channeling it into her mission. She became one of the best on the force, earning the trust and admiration of her colleagues, all while feeding crucial details to Marco. She believed she was getting closer to the truth, that justice was within reach. Little did she know, the man she trusted to help her was the very one who had shattered her world. Anna's quest for vengeance led her into the shadowy world of organized crime. After her father's murder, she found herself at the doorstep of Marco, a notorious crime boss with a reputation for ruthlessness. Marco had a certain charisma, a magnetic pull that drew people into his orbit. He listened to Anna's story with a keen interest, his sharp eyes never leaving her face. "You want justice?" he said, leaning back in his chair. "I can give you that, but you'll have to work for me." Desperation and anger clouded Anna's judgment. She agreed to Marco's terms, believing it was the only way to find her father's killers. Marco saw potential in her, a raw determination that he could shape to his advantage. He took her under his wing, teaching her the ways of the criminal underworld. Anna learned quickly, her natural intelligence and relentless drive making her an invaluable asset. Under Marco's guidance, Anna infiltrated the police force. She wore the uniform with pride, but her true allegiance lay with Marco. She became his eyes and ears, feeding him information that helped him stay one step ahead of the law. The dual life was exhausting. Each day, a delicate dance between loyalty and deception. Marco provided Anna with leads, and she followed them with precision. Each small victory brought her closer to her goal, or so she thought. She was deeply embedded in Marco's network, unaware of the dark truth that he was the one behind her father's murder. To her, Marco was a mentor, a powerful ally who shared her desire for justice. Despite the dangerous path she walked, Anna couldn't deny the growing sense of camaraderie she felt with Marco. He was manipulative and cunning, but he also offered a twisted form of support that she had been starved of since her father's death. It was a toxic bond, built on lies and fueled by a shared darkness. Anna's colleagues at the police force had no idea of her true mission. To them, she was dedicated, driven, and a rising star in the department. She forged friendships, built trust, all while keeping her dangerous secret hidden. The stakes were high, and the risk of exposure was constant, But Anna thrived under pressure. Every night, she reported back to Marco, sharing details of ongoing investigations and police operations. Marco's influence grew, his empire expanding with Anna's help. Yet, the closer she got to uncovering the truth about her father's death, the more dangerous her mission became. The lines between right and wrong blurred, her sense of justice becoming entangled with her loyalty to Marco. Anna's alliance with the crime boss was a tightrope walk over a pit of vipers. She was determined to stay the course, to find the justice she had been promised, unaware of the ultimate betrayal that awaited her. Anna's nights were restless, filled with dreams of her father's face and the unanswered questions that haunted her. One evening, as she sifted through old case files in the police archives, she stumbled upon something that made her blood run cold. A report detailing a murder that matched her father's, right down to the masked men and the brutal efficiency. But this report contained a name, Marco. Her heart pounded as she read the file again, hoping she was mistaken, but the more she dug, the clearer it became. Marco, the man she had trusted and relied on, was the one responsible for her father's death. He had manipulated her, using her grief and desire for justice to further his own ends. The realization hit her like a tidal wave. Rage, betrayal, and heartbreak coursed through her veins. Everything she had done, every risk she had taken, had been for the man who had destroyed her family. She felt sick, the room spinning around her as the full weight of the betrayal settled in. Anna knew she had to act quickly. She couldn't let Marco know she was onto him, but she also couldn't continue to be his pawn. She needed an ally, someone she could trust implicitly. That someone was Willian, a detective in her unit who had always shown her kindness and respect. He was smart, capable, and, as she had recently discovered, deeply in love with her. One night, after a particularly grueling day, Anna asked Willian to meet her at a quiet bar on the outskirts of town. Over drinks, she told him everything: her father's murder, her alliance with Marco, and the horrific truth she had uncovered. Willian listened in stunned silence, his expression a mix of shock and determination. "We have to bring him down," Willian said, his voice steady. "But we need to be careful. Marco has eyes everywhere." Together, they devised a plan. Anna would continue her role as Marco's informant, feeding him just enough information to keep him satisfied while subtly sabotaging his operations. Meanwhile, Willian would gather evidence and build a case against Marco, working in the shadows to avoid detection. The weeks that followed were tense and dangerous. Anna had to act as if nothing had changed, all while knowing she was now playing a deadly game. Marco continued to trust her, oblivious to the storm brewing beneath the surface. Anna's heart ached every time she saw him, the man who had taken so much from her, but she channeled her pain into determination. Willian worked tirelessly, uncovering more and more of Marco's criminal empire. He was meticulous, leaving no stone unturned, and slowly but surely, the pieces began to fall into place. Their bond grew stronger, united by a shared goal and the deepening connection between them. The final piece of the puzzle came one night when Anna managed to access Marco's private files. She copied everything: financial records, correspondence, evidence of his crimes, and handed it all over to Willian. They now had everything they needed to take Marco down. As the plan moved into its final stages, Anna couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom. The risks were enormous, and if Marco discovered her betrayal, the consequences would be deadly. But with Willian by her side, she felt a glimmer of hope. The day of reckoning arrived. Willian and a team of trusted officers moved in to arrest Marco and his top lieutenants. Anna played her part perfectly, luring Marco into a false sense of security right until the moment the handcuffs clicked around his wrists. Marco's eyes met hers, a mix of rage and betrayal. "You," he spat. "You did this." Anna stood tall, her voice steady. "For my father." As Marco was led away, Anna felt a weight lift from her shoulders. The man who had caused her so much pain was finally facing justice. And with Willian by her side, she knew she had found not just a partner in vengeance, but in life. The future was uncertain, but for the first time in years, it felt filled with promise. With Marco behind bars, the hard part was far from over. Anna and William knew that dismantling his empire would take more than just his arrest. They needed to bring down the entire network, ensuring that justice was served and that no one else would fall victim to Marco's ruthless schemes. Working side by side, Anna and William pored over the mountains of evidence they had gathered. Their late nights were filled with coffee, whispered conversations, and the quiet click of computer keys. They followed leads, uncovered hidden assets, and identified key players in Marco's criminal organization. Each piece of the puzzle brought them closer to their goal. Their professional partnership soon blossomed into something deeper. Anna found herself opening up to William in ways she had never thought possible. He was patient and understanding, always there to lend an ear or a shoulder to lean on. For William, Anna was a beacon of strength and resilience, someone who had faced unimaginable pain and emerged stronger for it. One evening, as they sat in the dimly lit office, surrounded by files and photographs, William reached out and took Anna's hand. "We're going to get through this," he said softly. "Together." Anna looked at him, gratitude and affection welling up inside her. "I know we will," she replied, squeezing his hand. "I couldn't have done this without you." As the weeks turned into months, their hard work began to pay off. They managed to trace the flow of money through a labyrinth of shell companies and offshore accounts, leading them to some of the most powerful figures in the criminal underworld. With each arrest, the web of corruption and violence that Marco had spun was slowly unraveled. But their journey was not without its challenges. They faced threats and intimidation, attempts to bribe or discredit them. Each obstacle only strengthened their resolve. They knew they were fighting for something bigger than themselves, for justice, for Anna's father, and for all the victims who had suffered at Marco's hands. One night, after a particularly grueling day, William took Anna out to a quiet spot overlooking the city. The lights shimmered below them, a stark contrast to the darkness they had been fighting. "Look at that," William said, his arm around her shoulders. All those lives were helping to protect. Anna leaned into him, feeling a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. "It's worth it," she said. "Every struggle, every sacrifice. It's all worth it." Their bond grew stronger with each passing day. They celebrated their victories together, and when the challenges seemed insurmountable, they leaned on each other for strength. Love blossomed in the midst of their fight for justice, a bright light guiding them through the darkest times. The final breakthrough came when they uncovered evidence linking Marco's operations to high-ranking officials who had been protecting him for years. It was the smoking gun they needed to bring down the entire network. With this new information, they coordinated a series of raids that dismantled the criminal organization once and for all. As the last of Marco's associates were led away in handcuffs, Anna and William stood side by side, watching the culmination of their hard work and determination. The sense of triumph was palpable, but so was the relief. It was finally over. William turned to Anna, his eyes filled with admiration. "We did it," he said, his voice filled with emotion. Anna smiled, a tear slipping down her cheek. "We did," she echoed. Together. Their journey had been long and fraught with danger, but it had also brought them closer than ever. They had not only found justice for Anna's father, but had also found love and a sense of purpose that neither had known before. As they walked away from the scene, hand in hand, they knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together. Their fight for justice had forged an unbreakable bond, and their love would guide them through whatever challenges lay ahead. The road had been hard, but in the end, they had found what they had both been searching for: justice, love, and a new beginning.